Hello and welcome to Admit One, your movie and TV podcast right here on Rabbit Hole Media. I am one of your hosts, Jack Netley Thompson, and as always and as usual, I am joined by one Kristian Lasham. How are you other than stressed and tired from your day?
I'm not stressed anymore.
Oh, tired.
I am tired.
The remnants of the stress are what ail you.
Flabbergasted is kind of feels like the best word to explain how I feel at the moment, even though that normally means like, I'm flabbergasted. So maybe not that. Discombobulated.
There you go. That's a good word. Hello, Tomb. How the devil are you? How's Lara?
We're talking about a different adventure film today.
We are indeed. You know, randomly, I was just looking through on Apple TV because there are a load of movies that I missed in the cinema that I'm just like, oh, they're available to rent for rent prices now as opposed to £900 for a
I know
8-minute rental. So I was just looking through and see what ones were there that I missed. I was like, oh, okay, Ghostbusters is there. I need to, need is a strong word. I want to watch that. I want to watch Edgar Wright's new movie. That's all there. And then it came up with Uncharted, pre-order. I was like, who's pre-ordering digital movies at this point? Like, why? It's in the cinema as of 5 days ago. It's not going to be available for months. Why are you paying for it now? Yeah,
that's weird.
But anyway, that then obviously had in the related movies, it had Tomb Raider. I was just like, I just watched the trailer for the Tomb Raider movie for no
Which one?
reason.
The Lisa one?
Yeah, the most recent one. The Lisa Vikander.
I like her.
Didn't like that. That movie was very fine.
I'm not talking about the movie. I said I like her.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that movie was very fine, and clearly didn't do that well either, as there is no sequel. It's been 3.5 years, and also she doesn't seem to have done much since then either. She had a bit of a boof, and then disappeared into the ether. Probably because she kept doing movies like Tomb Raider.
It would be a factor, I'd imagine.
Born.
Yeah, Bourne, yeah, she did that, didn't she?
Yeah, that was not a good Bourne.
No, that was the one that was called Jason Bourne, right?
Yes.
She was in,
Yeah, oh yeah, it was called Jason Bourne.
The one where they just forgot the entire naming. They did a Fast and Furious, in a way.
They just changed it, yeah. You could have come up with any... She had a baby with Fassbender. Did she?
Oh.
Well, there you go. That would be probably why. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I just watched the trailer. I was like, this is not a good trailer.
That was the one, if I remember rightly, isn't the trailer like shot for shot the same as the game trailer?
No, because there are elements of the game that aren't the same as the film.
I'm sure there was a bunch of stuff where they had like...
There's stuff that is taken straight out of the game, and like it is very clearly based on the reboot.
Yeah, the 2012 Tomb Raider, yeah.
13, but yeah.
You are correct, it is 2013.
It is based on that version. Like she's got the exact same like pickaxes and stuff that she uses to. They're used to discombobulate someone.
Taking my word. We got a new rabbit hole word of the week, everyone.
But I'm sorry, if someone takes a pickaxe to the chin, that's doing more than knocking them to.
Yeah.
That's
decapitating.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good D word.
I'm sure we can think of many good D words.
She was also in 2 films last year.
What
are they? They were clearly like...
Of no consequence whatsoever.
Head and Shoulders commercial 12 type level of movie. Because if I don't know that it even exists, it's usually because it's not worth talking about. Like, even movies... Like, I know movies that exist that I don't watch. And I'm like, they're in my ether. I know of all of the like Oscar bait movies that I never watch because they're usually drivel. Which is why they're nominated for Oscars.
I would argue that drivel is also another good D word.
It is.
Shorter, but it's still class.
Drivel. Anything with a double letter in the middle, I think is a good one. Do you know what else is a good word? It doesn't begin with a D, though, I'm afraid. Canoe.
Canoe is good. I like canoe.
Canoe is a good word. Bubble.
Satisfying. Bubble.
Bubble. Although, disappointingly, double and trouble aren't spelt that way. Even though they're the same sound. Welcome to the English language. Anyway, this is Admit One, your movie and TV podcast right here on Rabbit Hole Media. I forgot why we were here. If you like what you're doing is watching us, you can follow us on Twitter at _UK. Sorry. You can subscribe to us on YouTube where you can see us anytime that you wish. You can follow us on Twitch at Rabbit Hole Media, and you can join the chaos and carnage that is a conversation over on the Discord.
Indeed.
And now you can follow us on Instagram at rabbitholemedia_UK and on TikTok at Rabbit Hole Media for all the behind-the-scenes tits and bits. If you'd like to support us, head to merch.rabbitholemedia.co.uk for a wide range of merchandise that's recently gotten wider and finally... Ooh, that was more aggressive than intended. And finally... If you're watching us live on Twitch and are an Amazon Prime member, you get one free Twitch Prime membership a month. Please find it within your hearts to give that membership to us. It doesn't cost you a penny, but goes a very long way in helping us bring you the shows that you love. Hannah has said one of them was The Green Knight, the Dev Patel fantasy film, which I've heard of. The other one was Random. See, I've heard of Green Knight to the point where you've just looked it up and still don't know what it is, seemingly. It goes to my point. I have heard of Green Knight. I had no idea she was in it. The Tomb Raider sequel is being filmed this year, and her and Magneto are married. That'll be a weird crossover.
Anything's fucking possible nowadays.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Tomb Raider is in the multiverse of madness.
All they want to do is crossovers.
According to the internet.
Everyone's in Doctor Strange, yeah.
Do you know how else is in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? According to TikToks, this was a jokey TikTok I saw earlier. They took all the credits thing and just made it
I've
ridiculous.
seen one of those.
Like Dominic Toretto was on there.
I've seen that.
Like various Doctor Who's and things were on there. It was good fun because he had me. He had me in the beginning. He was going on, these are all the confirmed people, and it was all the standard things that everyone's believing. And then it just started going off the rails with like the Fast and Furious crew and Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, I've seen that exact one. It's good. It's good. It did the same for me. I was like, this looks a little bit... It's not.
Well, no, it never looked genuine, largely because of...
Okay, it's more that the claims were believable.
Have you seen the amount of people and go, I've circled this silhouette and I know this is John Krasinski? Yes. You're like, either you're an idiot or you're just doing it for views, which is obviously what a lot of people are doing as well, or you've stalked John Krasinski so much that you know his silhouette.
You know his silhouette if it was a smudge.
Well, yes, it was a blurry smudge. Yes. And the Deadpool one is what really annoys me.
The Deadpool one's insane.
The Deadpool one really irritates me because they found a flicker that kind of looks like Deadpool doing this. Like, I will admit, it does kind of look like Deadpool doing
Once
that.
it's pointed out, yes.
Someone obviously just saw it, but you kind of like, I kind of see it, but it is so out of focus and out of frame and like not part of the thing. When all the other images, even the Captain Carter shield in one of the fragments, like you see her her shield from What If, like are in pure 4K. Like you can see the sweat on their brows in these pictures, and then you just have this low ass. Like it was screenshotted in 1942, faxed like 70 times, and then printed on the poster, and you're just like. And also, as I said to you, Marvel don't do this.
No, they don't do that.
The things people have figured out is through remission, as opposed to things that have been accurate have been through remission, as opposed to just actual teasers and stuff. I do admit the fact that we will get to Uncharted.
Yeah, we're in almost 9 minutes in.
But I don't care. Multiverse of Madness happened. The trailer did. So it deserves to be talked about. We'll get to Uncharted. We'll get I do admit, the fact that Patrick Stewart is in the trailer means a fuckload more is going on.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, there's loads of shit that's going to happen in the film we don't know about.
Like, if they think, Patrick Stewart isn't a big enough reveal to save compared to some of the stuff we've got, then yeah. But my favourite one is the one going, this is Tom Cruise in an Iron Man armour, when it's blatantly a black person, for one. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a black person, internet.
Careful.
But that is one. You are correct in when I said that earlier, in that it's probably one of the Rambos. Time thing, it could be the mum, it could be Monica.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's probably one of them, especially considering the glow looks exactly like Captain Marvel.
Correct. Because, the first time I saw it, I thought it was Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And then when someone screenshotted it and showed it closer up,
and it was blatantly a black person.
And it was clearly not Brie Larson. Then I was like, well, then there's a Rambo, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I did. Some other people have gone, because in the comics, Kang becomes
Right.
Someone called Iron Lad.
Right.
Who does kind of glow red and all this and that and the other, and it could be him, but I think that's just people racial profiling at that point. And it does look kind of like what's called the superior Iron Man armor.
Yes.
Which is the silver one
which
around
is the one that
face.
Tom Cruise is rumoured to be.
Yes. Like, I'm not even saying he wasn't one of the chaps in the background, like behind Patrick Stewart. But there's so much going on. Why? They're not hiding things like that. They're not. If they are hiding Tom Cruise in this movie, he is not in the trailer. For one, Patrick Stewart's in the fucking trailer, and they make it really clear that it's him while trying to hide it. Like, you hear his voice, you see his very distinct ear, I guess. It's very obviously Patrick Stewart. They're not going to put a blurry image of, oh, that's Tom Cruise. No, they just wouldn't put him in the trailer. Full stop. Sorry, I just get really irritated by people being idiots. And then they ruin the movies for themselves and then complain and then slam them in the review process. Which is exactly what happened to a lot of people with No Way Home, because they overhyped it. It's exactly what happened with WandaVision. They overhyped it.
Can I ask you a question?
Is it Uncharted related?
Partially. Why did you opt for green?
I've always gone for green with Uncharted. It was on green, so I just didn't change it.
But Uncharted's never been green.
No, but I've always opted for green.
Yeah, but why?
Because most of the areas you are in are green, so it looks better.
I'd argue it depends on what game. Because I was like 3, most of it's like brown and yellow.
But 1 and 2 are largely green.
They are largely green.
And a good chunk of 4 is green as well.
Green. Yeah, you're right.
So, and a good chunk of Lost Legacy is also green.
That doesn't count.
Well, it's Uncharted.
You're Uncharted.
Is that just a really technical way of calling someone a virgin?
Maybe.
You are Uncharted territory. Fine. What do you want?
No. I just wonder. I know it's fine. If you want to go for green, we can go for green. I'm just surprised this week. That looks better to me. Yeah. I think that's nicer.
Distinct ear. You're behind. How big is the delay?
It's a big delay.
Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious me. Anyway, Multiverse of Madness over. I don't like that you didn't really interact with a lot of that conversation.
I just didn't have much to say, and I thought I'd just let you do your thing. Do your thing.
To be fair, I think the reason is because I'm at home on my own. The first thing I said today was hello.
I see.
And that was at 20 to 8 p.m.
Yeah. Mm.
So I haven't really said anything.
You should start talking to yourself.
Oh, no, I went to the shop, actually. So I said thank you.
You should start talking to yourself.
Why?
It's cathartic.
Is it?
Yeah, it helps me.
I don't have much to say to myself because I already know.
I know, you have a lot to say to everyone else.
Yeah, but they don't already know.
But just pretend you're having a conversation with someone else.
But then I already know.
Yeah, but you're informing the imaginary person.
Who's me? So they already know.
See, you're talking as if I'm the crazy one.
No, I do often talk to... I talk to myself a lot when I'm playing video games.
Yes, no, you do. I know that. Yeah. Because the amount of times I'll be on a chat with you, and you'll be saying something which is clearly not directed at me. I
usually just commentate myself.
Yeah.
But then if I did it on Twitch, I would say nothing. That's the problem. Like, I'm a great streamer with no one watching.
Talking about saying nothing on Twitch, we're 14 minutes into this Uncharted episode and we've not spoken about it yet.
Well, I've got to make this episode long somehow.
I reckon it'll be longish.
The biggest lie every man told. Anyway, Uncharted, the movie. Has everyone seen it?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
So I went to an unusual cinema for it.
You did?
So,
Pray tell.
As you pointed out, and as we learned, the listings at Cineworld are fucking insane.
They were mental.
There's hardly any of them, and the ones that are obnoxious times, and are at the same obnoxious times every day.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. I don't know why... Because they had for standard screenings, not like IMAX or anything like that. They had 440 or whatever it was. It was 4 something, and then 10.
Yeah.
Why?
It's so insane.
The movie is not that long. You could fit another one in there.
At 4-ish, most people are still at work.
Yes.
At 10-ish, most people are thinking about going to bed.
Yes.
Like you've missed your prime gap in the middle.
Exactly. Just, if you don't want that one, make it at like 2 o'clock so that the people who are off can go get lunch, like go out for a lunch and movie scenario. Sounds like a good afternoon. And then you can have your 8 o'clock, your 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's usually around 8 o'clock. It's the 8 o'clock slot that's missing that blows my mind.
I agree.
It's like, IMAX had it at 8 o'clock. You have 13 other screens. You're one of the biggest cinemas in the country. This is arguably the biggest movie out at the moment that hasn't been out for a while and is bleeding times over. Why the fuck do you have 4 showings?
I agree. But this other cinema we found is actually a theatre.
Yes.
That happens to have a cinema screen and seemingly sets up a cinema screen in the main theatre when the main theatre's not being used. And it was cheap as chips. And they had normal times. So we thought, well, we'll go there. Let's go there then. Let's do that. So it cost us a grand total of £8, admittedly using Meerkat Movies, but still, that's substantially cheaper than it still would have cost.
Even if you went standard, you're probably looking at like £14 per person.
It was the Capitol in Horsham, Hannah. And we went over there, and I haven't really been there before, but it was nice. It's a theatre, so it was a nice little place. And there was like 4 of us in the screening, and it was just a big screen set up on their stage in the theatre, but a proper sound system, and it was good quality. It spanned the whole width of the screen. It was like being in a cinema. It was not in any way lesser experience than going to a standard screening at Cineworld. Like, not better than IMAX. I would still go to IMAX for the really big films I care about, but for normal cinema screenings, considering Camilla doesn't have a Cineworld card anymore, we've already decided that will be where we go from now on.
100%, and where possible on a Wednesday.
Yes. The film, I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either. I had some things, less issues with how it is as a movie, but more from a game perspective.
Yeah.
I thought, why?
So my biggest issue I had from it, from this film, was disconnecting myself from the games. And
I managed to do that really. I agree, but I did manage to do that really quickly.
See, I didn't. I struggled, but I think the reason for that is I said this to Camilla in the car on the way back. I was like, for anyone who doesn't know the games, many of the problems I have with this film aren't going to exist. Mm-hmm. For anyone that knows the games but doesn't care about the games in the same way I do, also these problems don't exist. But for me, who is like genuinely really attached to these games and these characters, like generally really attached to them, like it's one of my favorite franchises. It's the only tattoo I've ever considered having is a Sic Parvis Magna one, much the same as you. Switching off from that and the connection I have to the characters and the story was really, really difficult. So the main issues I do have are to do with the game adaptation, either characterization or what they're doing plot wise or setting wise or tone wise. But as a film, I think it's fine. It's a good action flick. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part they adapted Uncharted to screen as best they could in a lot of ways. I do think there are some areas along the way which just could have been done better.
I agree.
If I'd made the decisions. But I thought overall it was fine. And the main thing is, the strangest thing coming out of it is no matter what, somehow I'm somewhat excited for the prospect of a sequel.
Me too. I actually really want there to be a sequel, just because obviously this movie was plagued with development issues.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the fact that your screening was really dead. I know that's that's in no small part due to the cinema.
The cinema,
it was.
100%. Yeah.
But like I went IMAX 8 o'clock opening night and it wasn't full, and that's obviously only going to get lesser and lesser. Other than maybe because I went on a Friday, so maybe the Saturday would be a bit busier. But I'm hoping it does well enough to justify a sequel, considering how long, not this movie specifically, but the thought of an Uncharted movie was in development for. I do hope it gets a sequel. Hannah has said, I never played an Uncharted game, so had a great time, and it even made me consider playing it. I would say fucking do it.
You should do.
You should absolutely play them, because if you had a great time with this movie, you're going to have a fucking fantastic time with the games.
Because I do think, I've always said this about Uncharted, I think the best thing about it is the characters and the character relationships. Personally, I think some of the characterization in this was wrong.
Yep.
which I'll get to. But I do think the one thing they got right was actually still the relationships between the characters. I feel like that came off well, and the connection between them all, I think they still got right.
You know, weirdly enough, I went into this going, my biggest issue with this movie is going to be Mark Wahlberg. It wasn't. It was Chloe.
Yeah, yes, we'll get to that. I'm going to do spoilers on here now because I entirely agree.
Quick general thoughts. I completely agree. Essentially, I do hope that, as I said, I do hope there's going to be a sequel, and I really hope. No, not really hope. I just thought it was a good, fun treasure hunting movie. It was like a modern day Indiana Jones type thing, and what Tomb Raider was kind of trying to be when it came out, but didn't take itself so seriously, which is good. I think some of the set pieces that weren't based on games could very easily have been in the games, which is good, given that what those games are. The ones that were from the games did fit in well.
Sort of. I have an issue with them, but I will get to that.
Well,
but I agree with your sentiment, I think, yeah.
Yeah, they fit in perfect, like, for what they were trying to do and how they put them in, they fit fine. It didn't feel like, oh, this is just happened.
It wasn't just, it did make sense for the plot they were telling, yes.
There was a little bit of a tidbit. There was a video of YouTuber Jacksepticeye playing Uncharted with Tom Holland, and they played the Jeep chase scene in Uncharted 4, and he was telling sort of how they tried to actually get that in the movie. But I'm glad they didn't. I do have some issues with what they decided to take from the games and how they decided to do it.
So
purely from an order type thing more than a plot type thing, but spoilers, and we'll get into that. That's my general thought. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I'd watch a sequel. I'd absolutely watch a sequel.
So my issue with... Okay, I want to make sure I fucking make my point make sense here. So they're still pitching this as it's a prequel to the games. It's his first adventure.
Yeah, from interviews and stuff, the games aren't going to happen.
Yes,
in his chronology, it's a
different universe in a way.
Yeah, if you want to use the Marvel terminology, it's young Drake, but it's not going to go in the direction of the games. Yeah.
So, I think the issue
which is the better choice, by the way. I think
I would agree if they didn't just pinch so many things and out of the games, because Camilla hasn't played the games, but was able to pick out which of the scenes were from the games, partly from seeing me playing them and stuff like that, but also just because like you can tell in a lot of ways like that's clearly plucked from a game sort of thing. And I get it. Maybe you do have to do that to a degree, but I think the problem it created is that for anyone that doesn't know the games, those issues aren't there. But if you do know the games, no matter what, you're stuck seeing something you've already seen, and inevitably those things you've already seen. Cool to kind of see it being adapted, I guess, but it's never going to be as good as what it was when you experienced it for the first time in that game. Because you're not experiencing it for the first time again, so you're not getting that. You're experiencing the same thing in a slightly different way and in kind of a lesser way. That first time I played that fucking plane sequence in Uncharted 3 was mind-boggling. Watching it in this was just kind of like...
It's not even unique to movies.
See what you're doing. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah.
So it's one of the set pieces. It was cool because it was a game that you were playing, but it wasn't a particularly unique set piece even when the game came out. But it's the fact that you were playing it that elevated it so much. But yeah, I do agree. It wasn't like mind blowing or anything.
We're just going to stick with spoilers here. I think the best set piece scene in that film was actually the flying pirate ships.
Agreed. It's the one they came up with
because it felt original, but it also felt like something that you would see in an Uncharted game. And they did some cool stuff with it. I mean, it's completely fucking ridiculous, but Uncharted is.
The one thing I said of you need bigger helicopters.
Yes.
What I assumed at first was it was both helicopters carrying the boat.
I thought
or the
if
ship.
This was super realistic, they would start picking it up and the ship would just disintegrate because that is rotten wood.
It's very old, yes. It's very old.
But that sequence... Uncharted does do crazy. I mean, the first 3 Uncharted games, spoilers for the games, Hannah, has fucking proper mystical shit in it. So it's not exactly like Uncharted to be bending the rules of reality.
No. The implication from the first game, though, is it's the first time he's come across mystical shit.
Yes.
Because Golden Abyss doesn't have it, does it?
No.
Yeah. So it's the implication. So it could go that way.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it
My
will.
complaint wasn't that there wasn't mystical shit. That my point there was more that mystical stuff exists in Uncharted. So the fact that there was flying they were fighting on these flying pirate ships.
It's hardly an issue. Yeah, no, it was more of a I'm just having a jab for no reason.
So that sequence I think was the best. Generally, think the best was the best one in the film.
I agree.
Because it was the only one that didn't feel like it was clearly influenced by the games, even though it kind of was because it was on pirate ships, Uncharted 4 and stuff like that. Because there were so many little, like, if you think about how it went through, even in a way, even the beginning bar scene when he was a bartender has kind of got a little bit of Uncharted 3 vibes to it, where he's in the bar. He's in a pub, yeah. And then obviously you've got they're stealing a cross from an auction in a room that looks almost identical to the one that's in Uncharted 4, and they do it in the same way. He has to bid and whatnot, but it's pretty much the same thing. They've even got a Nadine Ross style character that interacts with Sully in pretty much the same way he does in that scene in Uncharted 4. You've got it even starts with in medias res.
Yep.
It's just Uncharted all over. Just starts with in medias res.
Yeah, but that is it's a non-specific Uncharted thing.
No, yeah, I'm not saying this is a complaint, just things it did, but was clearly pulling so much from the games in these early bits.
No, yeah, for sure.
Starting in medias res, then doing from that into a flashback of him as a kid at the orphanage.
That child was not fucking 10.
No.
I just want to, you have that child clearly on the cusp of 15 at the very least. At the very least. And it goes 15 years later or 15 years earlier when it's there. I was like, bullshit. Bullshit.
But does, obviously, the idea of being introduced to Sam and that he was with Sam and Sam goes away and whatnot, all the stuff and the same thing they do in Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And then when he meets Sully, okay, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar. He's caught pickpocketing and Sully cottons on and works it all out, and you'll be good to work me, which is what happens in we see when they meet in Uncharted 3. It's not the exact same, but it's a very similar type scenario.
Yeah, it's,
none of the scenarios are
he's specifically seeking him out though in that scenario. Yeah.
None of the scenarios are the exact same, but they're all very similar and clearly sort of taken heavy inspiration from events that happen in the game up until that fight scene on the pirate ship.
Yeah,
really, and maybe the one with the bar where they're going and they're drowning. Mm-hmm. That's the other one that I think was quite original.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be fair, like in this type of movie, like, there's very little you can do that doesn't feel like it's based on the other things because it's just tomb raiding.
But they're all clearly based off events and set pieces that happens in the game.
Yeah, I know. But
we weren't actually really seeing anything new along that way. As someone who knows the games, and so for me, it was just kind of like, okay, cool. I'm seeing you rehash this idea, rehash that idea, and none of that was like particularly bad. But I would have liked to have seen like a much more original series of events.
But at the same time, then it's a hard line to walk because then you get to a point of why is it called Uncharted if you start doing that. And
well, as my point, the point I was going to then get into from there is that what they're then trying to do in this film is they're trying to set up character relationships and create and get you to care about characters and character relationships, which as a member of the game, you've had 4 games and 6-7 years to develop, which they tried to do in the space of an hour at the beginning of the film. And it felt very rushed, I think, in that sense. And like, right, we need to make sure that we've got the thing and his thing with Sam, and he meets Sully and this, that, and all these different relationships they're trying to build in and get you to care about these certain things. So that when he has the bit where he erupts at Sully after finding out that Sully had not told him about his brother and whatnot, and if that was a moment that happened in the game, that would have hit even harder, I think, as like oh, wait, shit, what? Because at that point in the game, Nate has had, as far as you are concerned, this entire relationship with Sully for years and years and years, and now he's learning that Sully's lied to him about it. In this, he's known him for a day. So it's just kind of, I think they tried so hard at trying to capture certain elements of the characterization and the relationships and missed it, which is a shame because there were some things I think they did really well.
Yeah, that sort of thing is why I want to see a sequel, though, because
I completely agree with you. Because I think the most Uncharted thing of the entire fucking film was the post-credit scene.
Yeah, absolutely. The post-credit scene that they put in the fucking trailer, I want to point out.
I know. But that was the most Uncharted, the entire thing. It was the only time we'd actually seen Sully characterized as Sully, wearing the same kind of costumes that Sully typically wears.
With the tash and
the green bowling jacket thing and a cigar.
Yeah, but that's not the word I was thinking of. Like, not an affiliation, but whatever. He likes cigars.
Yeah. Because he also wasn't like... In the game, Sully's like a horn dog.
Yeah.
He's not like this in this... I didn't even hear him say, God damn.
No. I do admit that I agree, but Victor Goddamn Sullivan.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the quirks we know from Sully is like the quirks of an older man.
Yeah, I guess they'd have to build to it.
Yeah,
exactly.
like
He is a younger Sully.
He's he's quite drastically younger. Even then, in the games, when Nate, who is younger than he was in the film, like he's 25 in the film, and he was what, like 14, 15. He was a teenager when he meets Sully. When he meets Sully in the games, yeah. He's a cigar aficionado. That is better than the word I was looking for. So there we go.
Very good word.
But yeah, so I agree. Like, it's like, we didn't really get. He wasn't really Sully. So as you were saying, like, you had a bit of an issue disconnecting. I'm very good at disconnecting. I'm very good at going like, yeah, okay, they're called the same thing, but you've got the game characters and you have the movie characters, which is why I'm not one of these people that gets angry when they change a Marvel character.
Yeah, no, to an extent I can as well, but I love these characters so much, like, and there was such what seemed like an unnecessary shift in some, particularly Sully and Chloe, which for me was really contrasting, because I think Tom Holland as Nate was fantastic. Mm-hmm. I don't have a single bad thing to say about Tom Holland in that film, personally.
No, I don't have a bad thing to say about it. At all. I don't think he's like Drake.
I don't know.
I don't have a.
I got Drake vibes from him the entire way through. Like the little bit of banter when he's fighting the guy behind the bar and he's like, sex on the beach. Like, it was, again, reminded me of the Nadine fight in Uncharted 4 where he's still.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of because these types of characters, obviously not to the degree, but the whole quippy, kind of a lovable dickhead characters, they are a dime a dozen these days, and Tom Holland has played multiple, so it's like he just played Spider-Man in less lycra, essentially. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an issue, not an issue, but it's gonna be a thing that happens with no matter what you do, developing a character. People are gonna take umbrage with it. Like, Tom Holland is my favourite Spider-Man. Yeah, he's not Spider-Man.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like, if you compare him to the comics and all sorts of stuff, he's Spider-Man-ish, but that goes to the whole point of where after No Way Home, he's now Spider-Man. Like, but that's a whole different thing. So I was quite happy to just disconnect. I thought I was going to hate Mark Wahlberg, but I didn't. I quite enjoyed him and Tom Holland.
Two of them together were good.
Yeah, I enjoyed them together. But my biggest thing was, it wasn't even the characterization of Chloe. It was her explaining her backstory. Mm-hmm. And it was more specifically her explaining what happened to her dad. Mm-hmm. Why? Mm-hmm. Why have you changed that? This was perfectly established, may I point out, in the most recent Uncharted game.
It's not the only character backstory they changed, because they did change Nate and Sam's.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
And they obviously changed the way that Sully meets him. And because Sully meets, in the game, Sully meets Nate before he knows Sam. Mm-hmm. So they switched all the character backstories around, which I thought was very bizarre.
That one was just so...
That was to fix a plot point, I'd imagine, but...
Yeah, it was. I'm not defending it, but that one... I see, like, I can see the reason. The reason
I can see the reasoning that they made to get to doing that decision. Yes,
the reasoning is evident in the movie. Mm. It's not with Chloe. Mm-hmm. Like, she didn't even need to bring it up. Mm-hmm. She just brought it up, and it was different. Why? Like, that's the one thing I was like, but why have you done that? I don't understand. Like, if you do it down the line and if you did it in a sequel and then it became relevant to the movie you were making and it's just different, fine, I can deal with that. It's an adaptation, not a remake. And that's okay, but this just seemed really unnecessary. It was a forced bit of dialogue in the first place, and it was also like, I don't understand why you've changed it so drastically. It doesn't affect, because you've kept Chloe's character the same.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, sort of.
I didn't like the Chloe at all.
I didn't really like Chloe
I thought that, as stupid as it sounds, because I get that you have different takes on the characters, but I think she was way too weak and feminine for Chloe, personally. Like, Chloe's very tomboy, very much in control of her, of any situation sort of thing. All the way through this, she was just like, she's wearing these flowy dresses and stuff, which you'd never see Chloe wear in the games. It just didn't match into what, like...
When did she wear a dress?
Literally the first scene you meet her, she's wearing a dress. It's like a mini dress thing.
Is she?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Like,
I just remember a leather jacket.
All her like costuming was wrong, except for the scene where they went into the church. The only time she was wearing more of a Chloe style costume, and just everything about her kind of personality, the way she came across, just didn't feel like Chloe to me.
She had all the dickhead sides of Chloe, but not the... Because all of these characters are inherently dickheads, essentially, other than arguably Elena, who's not even in the movie. Mm-hmm. But then they didn't give her any of the likeable qualities, in my opinion, really. Obviously.
And I know this obviously it's supposed to be the first time that she's meeting Drake, and in the games, the first time we meet Chloe, her and Drake already have a pre-established history together. Mm-hmm. So obviously we're seeing a different...
But this is like 10 years after that, so yeah.
Of their relationship, and characters and people develop. I get that. But we know this... Again, this for me as an Uncharted fan, I know this character and I care for and I like this character. She has her own fucking game, which is, I think, really good. And I think she's fantastic in it. So she's probably, other than maybe Nate and Sully, she's probably my favourite character from that franchise, otherwise. Because I don't actually care for Elena that much. She's a bit bland, I think.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
She has her purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Chloe's purpose is different, and I enjoy it more.
Yes.
I just feel it was missing that.
I don't care for Nadine either.
No, I don't care for Nadine. So yeah, it was missing that for me. So that was just, again, for someone who is a fan of that character to be missing a lot of that character's flavour, I just think was a little bit disappointing. And just not the way I would have gone about making this film. I can see what they were trying to do. You've got to appeal to a different audience that don't know the games. I just don't understand why you can't try and appeal to both. Because I still feel like... I made this argument when the trailer came out. The games were successful appealing to an audience members that didn't know these people and didn't know these characters. So why would a new audience... Why would you have to change the characters and change the theme and the tone to adapt to a new audience? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, like, I don't know why they couldn't have got these just a little bit more accurate.
To be fair, games and movies have different audiences.
By ignorance, not by what people like from characters.
No, yeah, for sure. But it's...
So I got cramp.
No, I get that, but I just think it's next to impossible to do both.
Yeah, I disagree.
Largely because everything you said at the beginning of this episode would be tenfold if you were trying to appeal to people who did the games, not who like the games. Like, if you're trying to go for that audience, if you're trying to go for a new audience, I get what you mean. Like, if you managed to capture the game audience by doing this, if you had it took that, put it into a film, why wouldn't it work? I agree, but then you just have, we've seen all this, we know what this is, nothing new. But then you add something new, and then you're just like, well, why have you done that? It's a hard. But
I'm not talking about adding something. I'm not talking about adding something new. I'm talking about they're fundamentally changing things. Like you said, they've changed the backstory of her and stuff. like that.
Yeah, no.
Like, fundamentally changing things and changing characterizations and stuff. I don't see the benefit for it at all. Plot points and set pieces and stuff, I get the argument. I get the argument as to why they would bring over these set pieces from the games and stuff like that. Completely agree. I get it. I understand why that decision was made. It's not what I wanted to see, which is why the idea of a sequel was more appealing, because I think they'll probably end up doing less of it. Mm-hmm. If anything, there's less to choose from now. They've done a bunch.
Well, yeah, and this will be to get people in, and then there's a sequel, and they can be more free with it.
But when you're talking about changing characters and characterization, that's, like, for me, there's no reason to have to do that.
I got the vibe of Chloe's characterization was more different because she just wasn't very good.
No, that's absolutely a point as well. Absolutely.
I just don't think she was a great actor, to be fair. It's like standing next to... I don't think most of the people in this movie are inherently great, fantastic actors in their own right, but they're good. They're good. They're enjoyable to watch. Mark Wahlberg was enjoyable to watch. Antonio Banderas was weirdly enjoyable to watch.
For the short amount of time he was in it.
Yes, exactly. And then obviously Tom Holland. People fucking love Tom Holland. Everyone else has kind of felt like the main actual villain. Oh, what the fuck?
The Nadine knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, uninteresting.
I think the villains in general were weak. There wasn't really much of a villain storyline. It was just there's a guy who's the big bad guy. He's trying to beat us to the treasure. Okay. Yeah, there wasn't really much to it. More to it than that.
Yeah, it was very odd, considering arguably that he was actually right in this chap. In this instance, that you were just two knobheads showing up trying to steal something that belonged to his family, and he's just trying to find it. Really, murder is the wrong way, but that seemed to only start after they got involved.
Yeah, killed his dad.
She killed his dad.
Well, yeah, he had him killed.
Yeah, but would that have happened if Tom Holland and Mark Sully hadn't kept getting in the way?
No, probably not. That's the thing.
I mean, they probably wouldn't have found it if Tom Holland and Sully.
I know what you mean.
Speaking of Tom Holland, though, he was clothless for a lot of this movie.
Yeah, he was, for a lot of this movie, had no top on.
For some reason.
Yeah, because that's not like that's even an Uncharted thing.
No.
I've never seen Nate with his top off.
No, that is a Tom Holland worked out for this movie. Enjoy.
I mean, I did.
Oh, yeah. The first scene, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's huge all of a sudden. Well, not all of a sudden.
Yeah,
obviously.
I know what you mean.
But,
I know what you mean.
Oh, they do it in all the Spider-Man movies as well.
Yeah.
Like, with the Spider-Man movies, they escalated in how little he was wearing each time as well. It was obscene. Because he is ripped as fuck, that's why.
Yes.
Yeah, but normally you get the gratuitous ogle at me scene, and there's one of them. Normally. But this was like 50% of the movie. He was either shirtless or wearing wet, tight...
Yes, a lot of wet, tight clothes.
White, see-through clothes. Again, not a complaint. But it was just... like, the workout one I get.
He was working out.
He was working out. Warm. Mm-hmm. The one where he's just hanging out with someone he barely knows in a hotel room with no shirt on. That'd be your... Settle down, Chad. This is a different environment.
I agree. Just solving a puzzle.
Hannah says, I'm all for equality. Oh, I have no issue with it. Like, let's be real. Marvel are very, ogle at this man, do it. Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
I'm fine with it. I do ogle at them and go, Jesus Christ. Especially Thor 1, that movie where he just emerges from the bathroom and you're like, fuck me.
I always look at people like that, and I did that when watching this film, like the many times Tom Holland had his top off, was like, imagine the confidence you must have looking like that.
I know. Like, he's probably just sitting there going, I could just be naked. I don't mind. I'll do it.
Just in general, I just feel like it just gives you a swagger in general. Because Tom Holland has a good swagger about him. Mm-hmm. It makes sense when you look like that.
Yeah.
Get it. And when he can do what he can do.
Yeah.
I hate talented, good-looking people.
I know, it's really fucking annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really irritating.
And then he's in a happy relationship as well. Not that I'm not in a happy relationship, but I mean, oh, fucking hell. On top of that, he's talented and good-looking. Like, he has literally everything.
I'll say it. And he's in a happy relationship as well.
Yeah, I'll probably...
But, yeah, it's really irritating, isn't it? Yes. Like, why can't every talented person just be like Susan Boyle?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's like, you've got the talent, that's why you didn't get the looks.
Yep.
But then you... What?
Nothing, I was going to make a bad joke, but I haven't said it.
Don't do that.
I haven't.
Because obviously, very talented singer. Not a catwalk model. But then you get people like...
See?
He looks like that, he can dance, he's fucking Zendaya. Absolute bastard.
Exactly.
Yeah. You forgot the main thing, he can act.
Yeah, he can act.
Which is his actual job.
Do the flippy stuff.
He's very athletic. He's literally Spider-Man. No, you know what I mean.
I reckon he can probably sing as well. Give it a couple of years, he'll be in a musical suddenly as a... Well, he can sing, because he's like Billy Elliot. I'm an idiot. Of course he can sing.
But he was just dancing in that, I think.
No, Billy Elliot sings. It's a musical. He sings.
I don't know. I never watched it.
Yeah. Have you not seen the clip of him on TV? I can't really explain it. Have you not seen that?
No.
As a kid?
No.
I'm going to show you that after this. How have you not seen this?
Well, I've seen him dance as Billy Elliot. I've seen clips of Billy Elliot with him dancing.
Have you not seen the thing of him on the TV interview where he just starts, as a kid, he's doing a TV interview about Billy
No,
Elliot.
I just watched the lip sync battle with him in a corset.
And he starts singing. I'm going to show you it later. It's fucking hilarious.
He also looks good in a corset.
Yeah, I know. No one looks good in a corset.
I know.
Tom Holland
He was wearing a corset like fishnets, heels, dancing in the rain. Oh, singing in the rain.
The man is my wet dream. Okay, that's just.
Yes.
Leave it at
Just
that.
need to age up the face a little bit.
No, I'm alright with it actually.
The police are on their way. That was actually one thing that was really jarring to me. They play it off as Chloe and Nate are very similar ages. They definitely are in the game. They're similar ages, and it's kind of meant to be that same thing. Maybe she's a little bit older, but she looks like 40 years older than him.
Yeah,
I'm not saying she looks old. I'm saying he looks 7.
He looks young, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is another big thing. I was like, 15 years ago. Fuck off. I'm sorry. If you want someone to play it, I'm going back to that kid again. If you want someone to play a 10-year-old, get someone whose voice hasn't broken.
So as we're going all over the place, the kids. I thought young Sam was strangely similar to young Sam in the game.
Probably the point.
No, but I mean, like, considering there are so many other characters, the main characters, I think, that were not that similar at all.
Yes, probably.
As I think, some of the main characters not that similar at all. To have young Sam that close, it was just, okay, fair enough. I mean, it's just. As I was watching it, as he got to the scene, I was like, shit, he's good. He's a lot like young Sam.
Agreed. My actual biggest issue with this film is Sam.
What, that he's in it at all? Or?
No, I think the young Sam stuff, get that in there. Because I think my actual biggest issue with Uncharted 4 is just suddenly you have a brother that you haven't mentioned ever. And the reason they put into the movies is good enough. Into the game, sorry. It's good enough for me to ignore it, but it's also bollocks. I'm sorry, if you're married, you've mentioned at least once that you had a brother who died.
That's the only thing Uncharted 4 with it that I actually go, you haven't even mentioned this to Elena? Like, that's the only thing where I'm like, Like, the fact that we don't know about it and he's not spoken about it,
that's fine. But then the fact that they make Elena surprised by the fact that you have a brother, like...
Because
it's not like he was a serial killer. Yeah. He just did what you do.
Yeah. And, like, I'm with Elena at that point when she's like, wait, you have a brother and you haven't told me about this. Like the fuck?
I think, in that moment she had every right to be fucking livid.
Yeah.
Because, that's the thing. Why?
Yeah.
Why haven't you mentioned it? But, so I think, get it in. My main issue is they shouldn't have done the post-credit scene of his brother being alive, of Sam being alive, yet.
Agreed.
That should be... Depending on, say they made a trilogy, it should be the next film, and then the third film is getting Sam.
Agreed. Again, I think that falls into Uncharted 4. I think the Sam thing works so well in Uncharted 4 because, again, we have 4 games, if you include Golden Abyss, worth of connection to Nathan Drake already. So to suddenly learn he has a brother and also see the way he lost the brother. When he does come back, there is like that game still does give you a moment of, oh shit, okay, like I can see like what
I can't remember. Do you see? He comes back first, right?
No, we see all the stuff.
The prison stuff.
Is
that first?
Yeah.
Is that before the diving bit? Or do we do the diving and then it goes back? I can't remember.
Right, so it starts with the orphanage stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, it starts with the boat.
And then the orphanage stuff. Yeah. Then you do the diving bit.
I don't remember it. So I remember that whole sequence being one straight shot. Obviously, I could be entirely wrong. Anyway.
No, sorry. Orphanage stuff. Then it's all prison. The Panama prison stuff. Yeah. Then the diving bit. And
then all of that is one straight shot. So that's where I was getting confused. Because I remember that being one sequence with Sam showing up. And what have you, but I couldn't remember. See again, but I still think that would have hit harder if that was just a sequence in like Uncharted 1 or 2 or whatever, and then in 4 he shows up.
But the Panama sequence? No, I agree. Obviously, that wasn't thought of then, but I think the difference between the game and the film is you say you have 4 games. You can
relate more to what Nate is feeling in this moment because you know who he is as a person.
Whereas the film doesn't have that, and the film's trying so hard to build these things, but he doesn't really have a relationship with Sully at this point. He doesn't have a relationship with any of these characters. There's no pre-existing relationship with any of these characters at this point. So there's nothing. Those twists with Sully telling him the truth and whatnot just kind of fit a bit flat because there's nothing there already.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
And then I like it's setting up those relationships, because now at the end of the film, because of Sully turns and goes, actually, I do like this kid, and he's right, and I do need to be better, and I need to drop the money and save the kid and whatnot and everything else. And then we see them later at the end as that post-credit scene in the bar, which, as I say, is the most Uncharted thing of the whole film, because that that relationship between them is much more akin to what we know from the games. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think the sequel could be, and probably will be, so much better, because they can play it differently.
I agree. I think this one has origin issues.
Yeah.
In the sense of you're so limited by the origin. You can't have the entire movie being like that, because you've known each other for 15 minutes, quite literally in some of the scenes. So you can't really do that. So the sequel, you could even have it be set like a couple of years later, so that you could jump the gun on this one.
I think that's the reason that I just find that disappointing is because the game didn't do any of that. The game just went straight in. Here's Sully. Sully. You've been friends for a long time. There's a relationship. And then you just learn to understand what that is. Mm-hmm. And then you get them meeting later. So then the scenes of them meeting mean... I remember, again, Uncharted 3, flashback. Oh, I'm young Drake. That was the first time we played as young Nate. Okay, I'm young Nate. And it's like, shit, that's Sully. And I'm watching him meet Sully and that relationship stuff. That was fucking cool.
No, for sure.
That's really cool, because you've got that amount of time that you've already learned or seen this relationship between these characters, and now you're seeing it start. Mm-hmm. That's cool. This just goes, here's some characters meeting, great. It just doesn't feel like much.
For sure. Like, that's why I imagine that is why. Yeah, it's an origin problem, which is why I think at this point they've stopped doing the Batman origin. They've stopped doing. I just
don't understand why that was the decision they made when they went, let's just treat and introduce all these characters as the first time they're meeting each other, because that's the only way the audience will understand, as opposed to just writing it as these characters know each other already. Which is what the games are written like. I don't understand why that wasn't the approach they took. I think that's the thing.
I think they got two ideas that can be exclusive and had them as this one amalgamation of a ball. Like they had young Drake means origin.
Yeah.
It doesn't. He can be younger.
Yeah.
Like, as we said, he's in the games, he's known him, by the time he's that age, he's known him for about 10 years. So, like, you could have just jumped in at this point and he knew Sully. Mm-hmm. This was just the first adventure we're seeing. For all we know, they've done fucking hundreds of jobs like Uncharted 1 before that point. But, yeah, no, I do agree. I think a lot of it was held back in origin stuff, which is why I kind of want... I do want a sequel.
I agree.
I hope this does get a sequel.
Well, I think they're building to one. There's clearly a kind of... There's the stuff with Sam, and then that post-credit scene where they come out and and you don't see what they're sighing at. So there's... To
be fair, even if they do I think this is one of those movie tricks where even if we do get a sequel, I don't think it's going to be that.
No,
it'll be after that. But they're clearly setting up. They want to do more. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yes,
I do feel this movie at the moment will make more money than it would based on its quality because it's Tom Holland.
Yeah, but that's movie marketing.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying that as a bad thing at all. I'm just saying like that's. In fact, I'm saying it as a good thing because then we're more likely to get a sequel. We are at the height of this person's career at the moment, and when an actor is at a height of their career, their movies tend to make a lot of money, regardless. Especially so close to No Way Home.
We have done a good amount of problem moaning, though. There are some really good bits in this film.
It's what we're
but there are some really good bits in this film.
We talked about him shirtless. It's a really good bit of this film.
So this is going to start with a moan, but it turns to not being a moan.
Welcome to Rabbit Hole. You've met us.
I spent most of this film going, why aren't you still getting the music right?
They used it twice, and then the rest of the music was very uncharted.
Yes, but the two times they used it were good times. Mm-hmm. And it kind of had, like, the time where he uses it when he finally gets the guns.
Oh, mate, I was sat there going, this band is not... I was like, why does he look off? I couldn't place it. I was like, he looks off, and then he just put on a leather holster. I went, that's why. Yeah. I knew there was something.
I would have liked to have seen more stuff with gunplay, because obviously that's such a prominent part of the games.
One thing they have said in the interview, though, is that in a movie, it's a lot harder to put across this lovable... mass murderer.
Yes.
So they really toned back the amount that he would.
I also feel like they can build to that later on as well. Like just as the stories go on, and you know the character more, you can get away with just a bit more gunplay stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there was gunplay in this.
You can use gunplay and like He doesn't have to kill everyone.
I mean, it took like 2 hours or so for him to get some guns.
Yeah.
So,
but as I said, like, you can use guns and not kill people, but like a really faint version as he put them on.
But it gave me the Avengers music vibe sort of thing. Of just like, yes, this is Uncharted. This is what I want. And it was a shame they were missing. Because I said again about the trailer, more of the music. The music is tone. And again, Uncharted is great for its tones. Bring the music in. That's what gets the tone.
It is weird that they didn't use it in the trailer. I did think that.
Yeah, they missed it so much because there was only. When was the other time they used the Uncharted theme? What was the other moment where they used Nate's theme?
It was just on the boats, on the ship.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
It was just a big like action set piece thing. I did feel. I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. But I also felt like this is a. Do we need an origin to him having a gun holster?
Yeah.
It was a very. All right, we'll just call you Solo.
Yeah.
Or this is how Han Solo got his jacket.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can understand now why. Thank you, Hannah. Why people did enjoy those moments of Solo because it's something they cared about. Whereas obviously I didn't. But Uncharted, I care about that shit. So when he put on the holster, I was like, yeah. Hannah says, I saw a trailer the other day which only used the cat-related scenes, including the credit scene. Yeah, it's weird. They use the post... That's what I can't get over. The fact that they use the post-credit scene. I think that's because they knew they had that in the movie. And one of the biggest complaints was Sully doesn't have a mustache.
Put it in the trailer, that will shut people up.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think exactly what it is. I liked the cat thing.
At first I was thought, oh, for fuck's sake. But then it was like, I never go anywhere with that. I was like, I'm weirdly in.
It was a Nate and Sully style joke. Mm-hmm. The whole thing of like, oh, the cat's for you. I mean, what? I'm not keeping that thing. That's a Nate and Sully style joke.
Yep.
And the comment of him coming back to just later on. Do you think he's fed the cats? And just like all that stuff. Actually, the banter between them, I think, was great. Mm-hmm. It was very Nate and Sully sort of stuff. I was going to say, one of the other things I actually really liked about this movie, every video game movie does this. I actually think this film did it really well, of doing little video game tropes in it. They don't normally make sense, but they managed to make them work. So little things just like, they only did it a couple of times, of him climbing up the side of the boat. And he
climbed a lot, yeah.
But it was done in ways that was like Nate would climb in the game.
Yeah.
And the fight, the melee fighting style was like he does a lot of the stuff, moves and stuff that's from the game. Because the melee fighting in that game is very much kind of just
limited.
A few limited animations, but he does a lot of those in it. Mm-hmm. I like that. That for me was like a nice subtle Uncharted flavor, Uncharted spice that not everyone's going to get, but was just but not done over the top like some games do.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of games do it.
Film, sorry.
Yeah.
Film adaptations.
A lot of them do it way too hard.
Because Tomb Raider, at least if Vikanda's one does it, where suddenly she has to monkey bar across the section and a bunch of stuff.
And as I say, like the fucking pickaxes.
Yeah.
What does melee fighting mean? Hand to hand. That. Melee is non-firearms.
Yeah.
So could be with the swords. Thank you. The sword. I did enjoy the sword joke as well.
I enjoyed the sword joke.
I enjoyed the weird little... It doesn't make any sense, but the weird roll over Sully. He gets knocked back and rolls over.
Oh, yeah.
Sully. I enjoyed that, but at the same time, I was like, the amount of like momentum you would have needed, you're a corpse. Like, the amount of like being punched so hard you roll out, like the amount of effort it takes to get your legs above your head.
I also like that, and I think one thing they got right is just this idea that Nate is just very good. He's very good at lateral thinking and fixing and solving these puzzles in the ways that they couldn't work out. And they're all being throughout all the games. There's loads of moments where like, no, we've thought about this, Nate, and there's not. And he's like, no, you thought about this, but you've not thought about that. And like, oh yeah, shit, that makes sense. Like the games have been like that, and they did that throughout this with him solving puzzles and stuff like that.
He's
and
smart,
then,
yeah.
But then those other characters are able to bounce off his smarts to think differently.
Yeah.
And, I think they got all of that stuff good.
Mm-hmm. No,
that was a shit sentence.
And they got all of that stuff good, didn't they? It was well good. It was well good, didn't it? I enjoyed most of this. Like, we're just very good at the moaning. Unless they're complimenting. I could sit here and moan about the MCU for about 4 hours
Yeah,
probably,
absolutely.
but it wouldn't boil up to like 2% of what I actually feel.
But again, like all my big problems though are just that I am such a big fan of the game.
I agree.
Of the series of the games. It's like, it's just, for me, it's not necessarily what I wanted. What I would have wanted from this film, personally, is if they were canon to the games, it was just a prequel set before all the games, and all the character lines are correct to what we know in the games, and it was just a different adventure that could also just be its own game and make sense as its own game. That's what I would have liked. This story couldn't make sense as its own game because all the set pieces are from the other games and the backstories are different and it doesn't make sense. So for me as an Uncharted fan, that's just a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to have seen something that can fit in more in that universe. But if I detach myself from that and go, no, this is just kind of a different take on the universe, it's perfectly fine Uncharted.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Same.
I agree, and a lot of people have been blowing how this film is so shit. It's not Uncharted. It's like it is in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
though.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it is Uncharted. You're just butthurt that they made an Uncharted movie. Like, no matter what they made, it could have been a shot-for-shot remake.
That would have been a mistake.
It would have been, yeah, I agree. It could have been a shot-for-shot remake with the same level of performances and character development and the chemistry being spot on and everything, and people are still like, this is shit. And it's like, this is because they've made a movie of a game you like, so you're butthurt about it. The same way people get butthurt about literally everything. That is an adaptation of anything.
My final little bit of praise. Nolan North got his cameo.
He did. Do you know what I'm really annoyed about?
What?
I was in the loo.
Did you miss it? Don't go to the loo during cinemas.
I could have held it longer if the scene leading up to that wasn't entirely water.
How did you find out that if you missed it? How did you find out? It's just
because Asa told me as soon as I got back that it was the only time I'd gone to the toilet and missed something.
amazing.
I was really annoyed about the situation. But the entire scene was water and splashing, and
Yes.
I was just like,
I need a wee now.
this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. Well, it was just nice. He's just sat on the beach chilling.
Yeah, no, yeah, he told me.
He goes, where you guys been? He's just like, oh, we just fell out the back of a cargo plane. He's like, oh, that happened to me once. That was just good. Just a nice little cameo. Fine. I knew he was going to be in it somewhere.
No, yeah, for sure.
I had a funny feeling at one point ages ago. I was like, I wonder if they'll make him Sam. And then I thought about it for a second and went, he's way too old.
Yes.
That doesn't work.
Yes, absolutely.
It would have been nice, I think, if they had made him a slightly more prominent character in the story in one way or another. It just would have been nice, I think, because Nolan North's quite a good actor. It would have been nice to have seen him a bit more. But a little cameo works for me. It's fine. I have no problems with that.
I think it kind of works better in this way because then you've got a way to figure out a way to write a character in
Yeah,
and write
that's
him
true.
out and all this, that, and the other. Could have been a bigger part, but still relatively small.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I enjoyed the Papa John's moment.
Yes.
So, is there anything here? I was like, I'm literally in a Papa John's right now, and I was thinking, like, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I could go for a Papa John. In fact, I might get one on the way home again. I might do it. I might do it. But another thing, something I wanted to ask you.
Please
Say
do.
they do 3 of these.
Yeah.
So at that point, we're looking at Tom Holland being maybe early 30s by the
Yeah.
time the third one comes out. Depends how quickly. I mean, 73 if it takes as long to make each one. But God, that's depressing, isn't it? That's how long it takes to make movies. Fucking hell. But say they get 2 years each one. He's going to be like 29 or whatever. Do you think in that time they're going to try and force Elena into
Yeah,
it?
100% they will.
Even though
Yeah.
he was way older.
Yeah, they'll absolutely they'll force Elena into it one way or another. Maybe not as far as them being in that deep relationship, but that they have by Uncharted 4. But yeah, I think she's a pivotal character from the first game.
She absolutely is. Yeah.
I would like them to, and I would like them to see him bring in Charlie Cutter and other names, and then introduce also new characters as well. It'd be nice just to see them expand out on the characters that exist in this franchise.
For sure. Obviously, everyone wants Jason Statham and Helen Mirren.
Yep,
For the.
I see that.
For Charlie Cutter and What's Her Chops.
Yep,
Can't remember her
I
name
can't remember the name, but I know who you mean.
because they are literally
Margot. Marlene.
no, it's not Marlene. It's Margot. I think. Do a Google. Is it Margot? Margaret? It's not Margaret. I think it's Margot, isn't it?
I don't know anymore. Marlowe, Catherine Marlowe.
Oh, I swear there was because Could have sworn there was a G in there. It's not Marlowe playing Margot, is it?
Yeah, and like, there's lots they could do. I mean, it depends on where they go. I don't want them to. At this point, I don't want them to copy the stories of the games. They need to.
No,
do
yeah,
original
as
stuff.
we've said, they can't really anyway.
Because at this point now, it doesn't make sense for them to do so. So please just do something
Although
else.
they took
with it.
very little out of Uncharted 1, to be fair, so they could do that.
Oh, I guarantee you they'll take bits from. But I don't want to.
Oh no! I mean, like, they haven't taken anything from Uncharted 1, so theoretically,
there's loads of things they could take. They could take the fucking train sequence from Uncharted 2. They could do there's loads of stuff from Uncharted 2, actually. You could get the fantasy stuff in it. There's still stuff from Uncharted 3. There's stuff from Uncharted 4 they didn't do. I thought they were going to do the clock tower at one point.
All right, yeah.
Because there's the point where they're in that thing on the cave and you look up and you see a layout which is a lot like... And I actually went, oh, there's another one. At the time, then obviously they didn't actually go through with it. But yeah, I like... Keep
They're
going
unrelated
with it,
characters to what Hannah has said. Would that make Jason related again? Future spoilers. Or are these unrelated characters?
unrelated characters just appear in the same game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see him bring in some of those other staple characters and then introduce more new ones along the way.
No, absolutely. But I'm just the problem with Tom Holland being so baby faced is that it's going to feel weird if they just get someone his age
It depends how he ages, but I know
who looks their age. I mean, he hasn't aged.
Well, I know he hasn't aged so far. I appreciate there's probably going to be a whole Paul Rudd situation going on. But
Yeah, I think he's just going to look like that. He's Benjamin Buttoning. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. But it's just going to look odd. It's the same. There's nothing you can do about it other than hire a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But it just seems odd.
I agree.
But it happens in real life as well. It feels odd. And then you always just forget how old you are anyway.
Well, I do.
I definitely do. And people at work younger than me, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a bit pissed.
But it isn't.
Now it's very pissed.
I think it's the camera that's pissed.
Possibly.
I'll deal with that later.
But yeah, no, I like the Charlie Cutter and Marlowe are very good character choices. Villains, I don't really care. Just do new ones.
Well, Marlowe's a villain.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
Yeah, no, do new ones.
Just do new ones.
yeah,
So
like-
Charlie Cutter, not
Because
necessarily
you could
Marlowe,
talk about, they could do Talbot or they could do Rafe, but it's just
Pointless.
So, Zarovich, pointless. Just do it.
No, I agree, because
I would like them to go down some of the fantasy route a little bit,
Yeah.
the mystical route, because that is a staple of 3 of the games.
2. One of them's drug-induced.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, don't do that shit.
3 is drug-induced.
Yeah.
It's not actually mystical.
Yeah.
But it gives them more
there's shit
mystical
in the
elements, so
water,
they could
isn't
go
it?
that route to make.
Yeah.
Like, I
To
think
ground
that
it a
would be,
bit.
yeah. So I think that would be the way to do it in the movies, purely because you've had the first movie now. It's gonna
It
come
would
out
feel
of
weird
nowhere.
if yeah.
It would kind of come out of nowhere, which it did in the game, but at the you're in the first game.
It's the first
still.
game, and also it comes out of nowhere, but it comes out of nowhere for them too, and the character's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's the whole thing. So there are zombies now.
Yeah, no, and they absolutely could have done that, but I feel they would have had to.
There's a great part of Uncharted 2. There's a great part of Uncharted 2 where you're exploring, I can't remember where it is, somewhere with Chloe, and the elevator breaks down. She gets stuck in the elevator. And as you're walking around there's a puzzle to get out of the elevator. And obviously because that game is so good for just like contextual dialogue, Nate's just like, great, powers out, girl's trapped. I swear to God, if there's a zombie around the next corner. Which is a really good reference to the first game.
Yep. No, I agree. I do enjoy that. Well, I enjoy most of everything about Uncharted.
There was also one other thing I'm disappointed that they could have put in. They had ample opportunity to put this in as a little.
We'll get to that, because what I was going to say,
Uncharted.
I think at this point you could kind of do the mystical thing, but make it's the TV.
Something just no, carry on.
Did you hear Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the TV.
Oh right. Okay.
Spoilers. Oh, for the game. Sorry.
But I've spoiled many of the game.
Yeah, we have spoiled a lot of the games, to be fair. They could do like they did in Uncharted 3, have it be like he's tripping major balls,
Yeah.
and that's how you can get like the nods to the mystical side of things, but also keep it somewhat relevant and not completely out of left field, because the world that they've set up, like if Golden Abyss actually came out first and then there was just zombies in Uncharted 1, you'd be like, what the this has gone off the rails.
They did a lot of like inside joke things because obviously in the post-credit scene he had the golden gun. The post-credit scene where he's in the bar with Sully, he has his gun's golden.
Oh yeah,
which is cool. But just they had ample opportunity to put this joke in, and I'm just disappointed they didn't do a Marco.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a lot of water involved.
There was a lot of water involved. There was many opportunities where they could have done a Marco.
Were they in water together, not being in immediate peril? Because the only two times I can think of Tom Holland being in water was when he was drowning, and then when he was in the sea by himself.
He falls into water when he's chasing her through Barcelona at the beginning.
It's not really they haven't got the relationship
No,
there
I
to
agree.
start doing that.
And
then obviously again mid chase. So
I feel like when they were just floating.
When were they just floating?
When they're just floating on the cargo thing after the crash. There was a point there where like.
Let's see. But maybe we get it in the future.
Think.
Did we get it in the first game? Or was it the second game onwards thing? Because I remember the second game one. I don't remember the first game one, if there is one.
I think it's the second one. It's the first time.
It was the hotel roof, isn't it?
It's him and Chloe still.
Yeah. But yeah, there's...
Fish out of water.
Yeah. There's just a Marco Polo joke in most of the games. Even though a lot of them never say polo. A few of them, they never say polo.
No,
sure.
Yeah. Because it's always the other person's like, I'm not doing this.
Yes. It's like, what are you doing? Which is, in the circumstances they're in, is usually a fair question.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Do you want to talk about a ridiculous fucking trophy, the Dolphins? Get out of here with the Dolphins.
What, in Uncharted 4?
Yeah.
I mean, I just did it by accident.
Really? It took me fucking ages.
I just did it by accident on my first playthrough.
It just took me ages to get the dolphins. Probably because I was trying. So I was like looking for dolphins, and they were like, "Where the fuck are dolphins?" The things you do with the trophies.
So the other interesting thing, and you said this the other week, and I said to you, "Not there yet." You went, "I feel like it's time for another Uncharted playthrough."
Oh yeah.
And I went, "I'm not there yet."
Are you now?
I am very much now. Yeah. I mean, I've got other shit to play, but
exactly.
I very
I can't
much
have one.
Yeah.
That's my main issue. Is like I don't have time to just play 4 games. Lost Legacy I wouldn't do. I did that quite recently. I did Lost Legacy quite recently.
See, I'm mainly annoyed that I don't have access to playing Golden Abyss anyhow.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they ported it.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah. Jeff Ross was talking about that on
Was he?
Sacred Symbols Plus the other day. Colin asked him because there were rumours that they were porting it to PS3, and he was no. Never even came across the table as an idea to
Well, it's dumb, innit?
Days Gone was meant to be a Vita game.
Yeah, I knew that. That never would have worked.
No, in the podcast he said we had it. We had hordes running on the Vita.
Wow.
It blew my mind. I was like, how? That game doesn't... That console doesn't fucking run anything. Yeah. But anyway, that's irrelevant to this.
Vaguely linked. Camilla spotted an Easter egg, which I didn't.
Oh, was it the precursor orb from Jack and Daxter?
No. So when
that absolutely had to be, right?
Probably. When they were... wait, what? What am I missing?
There was the thing that they had that I have melded 2 different things together. That was in an episode of Supernatural. There was a thing that they used. I was about to describe what it did.
Right.
And and then I was like, hang on, this is not Uncharted. Basically, it has the ability to exorcise both angels and demons. That's not film. Uncharted.
That wasn't in this film. No, so Camilla said it was at the orphanage scene when they were Sam was packing a suitcase.
Yeah.
Or Nate was packing a suitcase.
The Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog logo. I missed it.
That's not the orphanage. It's when he's in his flat.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right.
He's opening the box from the orphanage.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's the Naughty Dog sticker on the inside of the on the case. Yes, I did get that one. I was like, was that the Naughty Dog logo? Pan the camera back.
There's probably lots of stuff in there we missed.
Yeah, probably. There was probably a frame by frame video on the horizon. For I'm very disappointed. I'm actually, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm disappointed that we're probably not getting The Last of Us until 2023.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm okay.
I'm not, because we have until June, and then everything is gone in terms of schedule.
For now.
July. Well, yeah, for now, but then there's not enough that has been.
Yeah, well, we've got Umbrella Academy at some point this year.
Yeah, there's also like, I don't know how interested you are in, but obviously we get Stranger Things this year as well.
Never seen any of it.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, that surprised me.
Missed that.
Mainly because I would have thought Camilla would have made you watch it.
I don't think she's seen it either. It's just one we've
that's
missed.
more surprising. That's more surprising to me.
Just one we've
It's
missed.
definitely worth a watch. It is very good.
Sure, I'm sure. I don't doubt it. There are many of these things where I don't doubt they're very good. I just haven't made the time to watch it.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, there are things while I'm here actually, after the show.
Fuck, yep.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not sure how
Mainly.
much we can do at this point.
It's more just have a basic game plan.
Okay.
It'll be a 2-minute conversation. Yes, The Boys is back on June 3rd.
This mic's the wrong way around. Yes.
Boys is about June 3rd, which is one of the things we need to work out because Obi-Wan is May 25th.
Oh, I see the issue. Okay, we'll look at it.
We'll do that. I think we're done. Do you have anything more to add? God, that's a great fucking theme, isn't it? It's so
Yeah,
good.
that's why it's disappointing they didn't utilise it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the trailer for the Boys Diabolical thing?
No.
The animated thing. Like it's doing what every fucking animated thing is doing these days. And it's basing it on a thing that is violent and there is swearing and stuff. But you know The Boys, it's over the top, but it's not like gratuitous and it's not doing it for the sake of doing it. It's just in a moment that would be violent and gory in reality, they make it violent and
there's
gory.
a few bits which are kind of done for the shock factor, but...
For sure, but if you shoved a thing of C4 up someone's arse, it would make a mess.
Yeah, absolutely would.
And if you... Spoilers for The Boys. If you lasered an entire crowd of people, there'd be a lot of mess.
Yes.
That type of thing. And it'll be fucking... And it's... But the cartoon is just seemingly for the sake of it, and it's swearing all the time for the sake of it. Hannah says we'll have finished the 80 million Fast and Furious films by then, so you'll have Tuesdays. But yeah, it'll just be a case of
I'm bringing
we just need to
Tuesdays back.
sort it essentially because there's 2 crossovers that we need to work out. So it'll just be a case of coming up with a game plan.
Well, let's do that.
Exactly. Is there anything else you'd like to add about Uncharted?
Nope. Other than overall, I thought the film was fine to good. Mm-hmm. My issues were personal because I liked the games.
Me too.
Camilla said she quite enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Camilla said I actually really quite liked that. Camilla's mum said she liked it as well.
I'd go a bit higher. I would say it's a high good. It's not great. Not like amazing.
I think it depends on
it's a high good.
Depends on what perspective I'm looking at it from. If I'm looking at it just from an outside point of view of just looking at it as a film, there's not that much to complain about. There's a few issues. The villains are a bit weak. A little bit in the middle where maybe the pace drops a bit. Whatever. A few bits of coincidence, but the Uncharted plots have that problem, I'd say, anyway. Of well, that's coincidental. You managed to all go there at the same time.
No, 100%. That is the game's
quintessential Uncharted. But from a personal point of view and as a big diehard fan of the games, I have a few more areas where I take umbrage, and it is a real personal thing.
Yeah, for sure. Same here if I wanted to lock them together, but as I say, I am weirdly good at disassociating things to the point where it doesn't, I don't. For me, obviously, this is different for every person. Not every person can look at it like this, but for me, this being different doesn't mean these don't exist. So which I know from a logical point of view you completely understand, but obviously some people just don't.
Yeah, I mean it's not.
And it doesn't matter. They're like, you've taken what I like, and that's the same reason people don't like the Harry Potter film. Some people, obviously, as a general rule, most people like them, but it's the same thing with every adaptation. But anyway,
yeah, because it negates the games. It's just that I wanted more of
because
those.
of the games. That's what you wanted. Yeah, exactly. Which is fair enough. But yeah, for me, completely segregated, so I can just say that this is good. I enjoyed it. High good. Nearing on great. Mm-hmm. I think a sequel could be great.
I agree. I think a sequel could be great. It has the potential and more of an opportunity to be than this because of the development issues it's had and everything else.
Development issues, obviously we'll never know whether or not development issues were actually eking over, or if it was just straight cancelled, moved on. This is a whole new production that wasn't plagued with issues. We'll never know that, really. But clearly there was some crossover because Mark Wahlberg's still here. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think the sequel is not going to be bogged down with origin things. Origin things, I think, bog down movies all the time, even if it's not based on something.
I agree.
An origin to a character is really boring, which is why we kind of get... John Wick works so well because it's post-retirement and he's just coming back. And you get hints and stuff of what he was like. And
this is what I'm saying about the first Uncharted. He's well into his thing, and you get little bits and tidbits as you go along, and that works.
For sure. And yeah, so that John Wick would have been really boring as an origin. And the industry doesn't have a fucking clue at the moment because they're making a fucking TV series about the hotel.
I know.
Why? We don't need a John Wick universe. John Wick is cool because he's John Wick, because he's Keanu Reeves. What? It take no time to murder a dog. Yeah. To be fair, if you want motivation, if you want people to get on side with murder, it's by killing a dog.
I agree.
That is the smartest movie-making decision anyone has ever made in the history of anything. This guy's a mass murderer, but we need people to be okay with it because he is literally an assassin.
Yeah.
So we need people to be okay with it. His wife, as a dying move, bought him a dog. Someone murdered that dog.
Okay.
You're going to murder them all? We concur. We agree completely. Do it slowly, do it painfully, and make sure that their teeth come out of their asshole.
Make sure you kill one of them with a book.
Oh, yeah, that was good. And then the second film, he did it with a pencil.
He did a pencil.
There's 3 films because someone killed his dog. Imagine being that guy. Imagine him looking up from hell. He killed a dog. He's not in heaven. Being like, oh, fuck, what have I done? Fucking hell, he's on a rampage. For all we know, he's
I've started a multi-million movie franchise.
Oh, my. Where's my cut? Oh, I'm dead. Hannah says one of my dogs is also called Daisy. So I was like, go get him, John. Yeah, exactly. Anyone who's ever had a dog knows that if someone killed that dog, you would fillet them publicly in front of a police station and expect the police to just be like...
Technically, someone did kill my dog.
I'm not like this because it was a bad thing to say. It was just a very sad thing to say. Because, yes. Different methods.
Yeah.
Your dog wasn't bludgeoned.
No, she wasn't.
She was also not a puppy. Not that that makes it better, but it's a bit... One of my cats was murdered.
Oh, no.
Are you just being like Kristian and overselling the fact that... there was the unfortunate incident of being put down. Or was your cat actually murdered? Because that's
a real different situation.
That's fucked if someone did that. I hope you flayed them.
It's not even something I feel comfortable making a joke about. I feel particularly sad
I'm
about
not making
this
any
concept.
jokes. I hope you flayed them.
Where's my cat? I feel like I need a hug. Anyway.
While we wait for the response, this is really happening. One. This took a turn.
Remember when you said this was going to be really hard to make a long episode?
That's because we've rambled. This is Admit One, your movie and TV podcast, right here on Rabbit Hole Media. If you like what you're doing is watching us, you can follow us on Twitter at @rabbithole_UK. You can subscribe to us on YouTube where you can see us anytime that you wish. Good Lord.
Lord.
You can follow us on Twitch at Rabbit Hole Media, and you can follow... you can join the chaos and carnage that is a conversation over on the Discord. Hannah has said, Croydon cat killer, we think. His tail was cut off and he was left in the alley behind our flat.
That's traumatising.
That is traumatising. That is deeply upsetting and disturbing. People are fucked. I hate people. I hate humans. I'm sorry. Shit like this. I say I hate humans all the time because someone was a bit annoying when they came into a shop and they irritated me by being a prick. What the... I hate humans. with all of my heart.
My cat hates it when I hug my cat, but I shall. She normally has a face of no.
The human race is the worst. And to be fair, they're always like, "Oh, if you keep using electricity, we're gonna be extinct." I was like, "Where's the nearest generator? Because I'm gonna dial this up." I came out today. I left all my lights on. I didn't really.
We got to Indeed.
And now you can follow us on Instagram at rabbitholemedia_UK and on TikTok at rabbitholemedia for all the behind the scenes tits and bits. If you would like to support us, head to merch.rabbitholemedia.co.uk for a wide range of merchandise that recently got wider. And finally, if you are watching us live on Twitch and are an Amazon Prime member, you get one free Twitch Prime membership a month. Please find it within your hearts to give that membership to us. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it goes a very long way in helping us bring you the shows that you love. The police say the Croydon cat killer is a fox. Foxes can't cut tails off. Tails is a fox.
Yeah, man.
But no, you are correct. They aren't known for bladed weapons.
And they can't operate the scissors. They haven't got opposable
I
thumbs.
highly doubt it was done with scissors.
I don't know. I'm not a Croydon cat killer.
Hey, neither am I. But I still highly doubt it was done with scissors. I'm getting off track. Thank you very much for joining. Coming up on the channel is hopefully less animal murder.
Still got to fucking watch this. When am I going to fit that in? I'll make time.
Saturday, we will be joined by one Richard Hill to talk about Batman Begins on Admit One. Immediately followed by Press Start, where we'll be talking about things like, we'll probably have a little bit of a moan about Dying Light 2, I imagine. Then we'll move on to, hopefully, talking about glorious things.
I'm pretty sure there'll be
Horizon
some
Zero
gushing
Dawn.
about the short amount of Horizon I would have played by that point, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some gushing. If anything, I saw a video this morning about how pretty the water graphics look.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I like water graphics. Mm-hmm. It looked very sloshy.
Indeed. No, I didn't say scissors are implausible. I said it was just unlikely. It's an unlikely weapon of choice for a complete fucking psychopath piece of shit like that. Anyway.
Can I do Saturday's Admit One as well?
If you want to.
Because I fucking love Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Like, I say, when am I going to fit that in? Not from a sense of like, oh my God, I've got to watch Batman Begins. But
just when am I going to watch it?
Because I can't wait to watch Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is a good one. I was also sitting here thinking, going like, oh, when am I going to watch these things? I'm not working. So.
It's all right for you. Why aren't you working?
I've just taken time off.
Oh, cheeky fuck.
I fancied it.
A Horizon Day.
Horizon. Well, I've been off. Today was my first day off.
Oh, we see.
Because I had initially booked it from tomorrow, but then it was like I'd have to come back in for Thursday, today, and then be off again because my days off are Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, that'd be annoying. Yeah.
So that'd be really annoying. So I've done that, and then I'd booked it until next Friday initially, but then I was like, but then I'm just in for 4 days. Why don't I just move it up? Yeah. Anyway, that's not important. Implausible is a synonym for unlikely. I disagree. You're probably technically correct, but I would never use those in the same... No,
that's not how I would...
Unlikely means it's unlikely. Implausible would mean it's... No, I would... Implausible seems more like a synonym for impossible.
Yeah.
Like, unlikely seems like it's unlikely that it did happen. Implausible means it's unlikely that it could happen.
Yeah, I agree.
In my head.
I agree with you.
On a technical level, you are probably right, as history has dictated you usually are. Do you know what I haven't thought about, though? I'm going to have to pay for Batman. This is really irritating.
I would lend you my 4K ones, but then I won't be able to watch it.
Yeah, there's a problem. There's a very similar problem that we had with Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with the whole...
Because you would, like, we've got 2 days.
Oh, that's a good
make
point.
that work.
We wouldn't even... I would have had to have brought it back today.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to have to pay for them. Oh, no. What bad films I have to pay for. Unless they're available anyway. I'll find them. I'm going to leave now.
I just want to point out, I know you. I reckon I give you until probably about 10 o'clock this evening before you've just bought the 4K collection on Amazon. I'm surprised you don't already own it. It's the Nolan Batman trilogy.
It is, but I hate the 4K Blu-rays. I've watched your ones and I hate them.
Does the flicky?
It does the flicky, but that I can get over with. It switches resolutions.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because the cameras are filmed. It was shot at different resolutions because of dumb.
Yeah, and I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. Whereas if I watch it on a normal Blu-ray, which is I did used to own before I moved, and I culled all of my non-4K Blu-rays, which, having started doing Admit 1 just after I moved, was an error. And so yeah, I'm not going to watch it in 4K. It will really bother me.
Fair enough.
It will really bother me.
I fucking am.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Batman Begins wasn't a problem. I remember it was Dark Knight specifically.
Well, it's because that's when they introduced the IMAX camera.
Yes. That was when he broke 2 of the 4 in the world.
Nolan does stupid shit with that stuff.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to film in IMAX, for some shots, at least do what everyone fucking else does, and at least make sure they're the same resolution, for the love of Christ. But anyway, we digress. I will watch it somehow, some way. Thank you very much for joining. Oh, Tuesday, we'll be back for Fast 7, obviously. There we go. Do that. And then next Thursday...
Is it called Fast 7?
It's Fast and Furious 7. I'm just...
Oh, fucking the names of this fucking...
It's Fast and Furious 7. We will be watching that on Tuesday for Admit 1, 8 o'clock. Thursday, we'll be back at 8 to talk more in depth about Horizon Zero Dawn.
We're doing that as well next week.
I mean, we don't have to.
Jesus, shit on a biscuit.
We don't have to. We can play that one by ear.
I just forgot that we said we were going to do that.
Yeah. It's a bit of a pain. But here we are.
May have been an error in hindsight.
We can cancel it.
We'll wing it. We'll wing it. We'll wing it. We'll wing it. We'll see what happens.
Thank you very much for joining. As always, until next time, TTFN.
All right, Tigger.